In today's video, I'm going to share with you the real truth about what I love and what I hate about living in Louisville, Kentucky. So if you're thinking about moving to Louisville, this is a video you won't want to miss. Welcome back. I'm Katie Skeen, a local realtor here in Louisville, Kentucky, and on my channel, we discuss all things related to moving to and living in Louisville, Kentucky. In today's video, I'm just going to share with you my own personal opinions about what I love and what I hate about living in Louisville. The first thing that I love about Louisville is the location, and there's so many great things about the location. First of all, it is located somewhat centrally within the United States, so it's fairly easy to get around to different various locations in the United States. We have an airport here that can pretty much take you anywhere, so I find it's really convenient for going up to Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Nashville, St. Louis. We're just in the middle of all of these places. I also love the location in the sense of the scenery that's around us. Louisville is located on the Ohio River, so it's really nice to be located on a river city and to see the natural beauty of the river. Also, there's several forests and a lot of green space around Louisville. That's something I really love. We're not far from Bernheim Forest. Of course, we have Jefferson Memorial Forest, which is one of the largest urban forests in the United States. And then we also have the Parklands Park System, which is just a really incredible park system within our city. So if you're a nature enthusiast, you'll really appreciate all of those things. Another thing about Louisville is it's a mid-major city. So you're not going to have all of the really large city problems, but you're also not too far out into the country such that you don't have the amenities that a mid-major city would offer you. Lastly, I think you'll find the location, it's the furthest point north that's still in the South, so you still have a sense of that Southern hospitality and charm. The second thing I love about Louisville is all of the food. Now, we've been ranked #1 by Apartment Advisor as one of the top foodie cities in the United States. We're often making these different ranking lists, and you know, if you've watched any of my videos, that I love to talk about the food here in Louisville. It's a place where I think a lot of restaurant concepts are piloted and tried out. We have Restaurant Row on Bardstown Road, just a lot of really good cuisine to try out here in Louisville, and it's one of my favorite things. When I was previously living down in Tallahassee, Florida about 13 years ago, I was mostly going out to chain restaurants. But since I've moved to Louisville, so much when I'm going out to eat, I'm eating at local restaurants. They have so much to offer here. You could almost go to a new restaurant every week for an entire year if you wanted to. The third thing I love about living in Louisville is the affordability. When we look at the affordability index score, Louisville gets a score of 89.7. So it is below the national average for affordability. So if you're a young professional or a family looking for a place to live, you want to be able to have attain home ownership, and you want to be able to still experience life and go out to eat and do recreational activities, go on vacation, all of these things, I think you can really stretch your dollar pretty far here in Louisville, especially compared to other cities in the United States. Now for the things that I hate about Louisville. It is difficult for me to talk about the things that I hate because I always think that you can see the other side of the coin, that there's always several pros for the cons, but there are two things that I don't really like about living in Louisville. The first one is that our school system is not necessarily organized around a neighborhood school system. I think this is a big disadvantage in a lot of ways for our city. Now, before all of you people start hating on me for saying this about JCPS, I do want to say my two kids are in a public school and they are thriving and having a great experience. So there are ways to work around this, but we've still lost the sense of that neighborhood school. I live about a half mile from the school that my children go to, and out of 620 students, I would say there are probably 15 or 20 students who walk to school in the entire student population. About 300 of those students are car riders, and then the remaining are riding the bus to get to school. So kids are coming from 20 to 25 minutes away from the school and being bused into our school. Now, our school is excellent and I love it, but when you are able to walk to school with all of the kids in your community, there is something really special that's built. Where I grew up, I walked with all of the neighborhood school kids to and from school every day. We were great friends. We enjoyed playing with each other after school. It just had this really rich sense of community among the families in my neighborhood, and that's just not something that we have here in Louisville. Now, in my neighborhood, my kids don't have a lot of friends in the neighborhood that they can just go over to that person's house and play, and I think a lot of this is due to the fact that we don't have neighborhood schools. Many times students are riding the bus to be able to go to different schools that have different opportunities, and it's kind of more of a melting pot. So I do think something is lost when we don't have those neighborhood schools. When you have neighborhood schools, families are able to build more and better relationships with other families in their community, and that is able to build a neighborhood of cohesion and trust. So when students attend school near their home, families can more easily connect with teachers, they can volunteer at school more easily and be more involved. Lastly, if you're able to walk to your school, I always say it's the most important 10 minutes of my day because it's the time that I get to hear all the things that have happened to my kids at school that day. They just kind of unwind and unload and process all of the things that they experience as we walk home from school. So I feel very blessed that I live close to our school, but this isn't the case for many families in Louisville, and it's also really prohibiting that neighborhood communal family bonding that you experience when you have a neighborhood school. The second thing that I hate about Louisville is the political polarization that we experience. Now, I think this is becoming more and more common in many cities, but there is such a strong divide between party lines, and I would just like to see a little bit more collaboration and respect of each other's ideas and values and of the other side of things. So when we have such intense political polarization, I think there's a lot of us versus them mentality. We've seen this a lot over the last 4 years in our city with just political injustices that have happened, with riots, with looting, people really acting out to show and express how they're feeling about the politics in our city. It doesn't make for a very warm and welcoming environment. It doesn't make for a very safe environment. So I think that's an area where our city really needs to grow. Well, I hope it's been helpful for you to hear from an insider the things that I love and a few of the things that I hate about living in Louisville. If you're interested in more information about the pros and cons of living in Louisville, be sure to check out my video, Living in Louisville, Kentucky, the Pros and Cons for 2024. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.